Hello all, this is Elder Wannabe. I've been working on an overall economic system for the KSP RPG community. I've been focusing mainly on state and nation economic methods, buildings, resources, development hexes, all that variety of thing. But I wanted to give you a brief look into what I've been working on for corporation interactions and how they're going to actually build their units. The whole thing behind KSP is that you can make your own thing. You can make your own ship. You can add variety and do whatever the hell you want with it. You can just put in, whatever units that you want or whatever components you want, build it and put together that way. So I wanted to avoid a situation where a company built something, sent it to the GM, and the GM gave a rating of level 1, this can do that, level 2, this can do that, and so on and so forth for both space and aviation. And I wanted each individual unit to be able to stand up on its own. And to accomplish that, I had to be able to actually give each component something, a value that can be, measured, so that when a corporation builds an overall stack of to create a unit, it actually has a value in game. So to accomplish that, right now I'm working primarily on the space-based stuff, liquid fuel tanks, engines, fairings, and the plethora that is involved in there. And in this little Excel sheet, I show a way that we can relate the diameter, the height, and the amount of fuel in that tank to in-game costs, as well as mass and all that. So say, for example, you have a liquid fuel tank with a diameter of 1, a height of 2. It can have a fuel amount of up to 200. And I derive this based off of a number of other things, a number of models, volume, and all that jazz. And so, however, you can add a compression. So this is zero fuel compression. This is just how much you can throw in there without paying a penalty. But you can add additional fuel to that tank. Say let's add it up to 400. And it'll up the cost in the form of electronics and high-tech components. So in the base of 200, it's 1 in 5. It goes up to 400. It goes up to 4 in 20. And this is an exponential growth function, so the amount you're going to pay in this is going to grow depending on how much higher than that 200 you're going to go. So it's going to work out nicely that way. So you can throw more in there, but you're going to pay a penalty, and the mass is still going to count. Same with the RCS fuel tank. The only difference is that there's a different zero fuel compression for this particular fuel type, but it follows the same general trend. It uses a little more aluminum than titanium, but that's still prototyping and all that jazz. Similarly, the liquid fuel engine works in the same way by adding in either its thrust, burn rate, and whether or not it can vector. It will determine its in-game component size, its and its base size, whether it'll be 1, 2, or 3 meters big, or if, and overall its total mass. The total mass is a bit of an issue because each modder seems to follow his own convention on what it should weigh. Nova's engines are typically lighter than Sunday Punches or most other modders, so that's something I'd have to work on there to compensate for. Similar to the fuel tanks, there's a complexity level for engines based on a number of engines. I've derived what a overall thrust to burn rate ratio should be and what a baseline is, and so you can actually lower the burn rate to produce a given amount of thrust at the cost of high-tech components and electronics as 40, not 400. So similarly, titanium and aluminum have to do with the size, not necessarily its complexity. So you can add on to that complexity or reduce the burn rate at the cost of additional resources. And so that's the overall idea of what I'm doing for corporations. And in this way, someone can go into KSP, put a bunch of, fuel tanks and engines on there, and then say, okay, this unit has these attributes, this unit has these attributes, which gives me a given cost, add it all together, that's how much the unit costs. So yeah, that's that idea. So I hope you guys give me some feedback on that, and yeah. So I'll give you a brief overview of some of the other economic systems in the future.